And by the way, you had Jim Norton on. We're going to talk about the whole Opie and Anthony connection that you've seemed to make. That all of us who have been influenced by that world should be extremely jealous of. You're basically getting to live out an Opie and Anthony fan's wet dream at this point.
Yes, that is. Someone has pointed that out to me before, and it's very, very true. Like if you think about listening to Opie and Anthony every day back in 2008, 2009, 2010, if I could have thought, like, what would be the greatest case scenario that I would take over the Jocktober segment in a way that actually had Jim and Anthony contribute and be involved in.
Right.
And Dr. Steve and E-Rock, and it's really incredible, all the guys from the old O&A show that we now work with.
Well, hold on, Carl. I'm counting everyone on that list. There just seems to be one missing.
Well, he is on our show quite a bit, that Opie. Greg Opie Hughes, just could not actually have a conversation with us.
I'm a huge Opie and Anthony fan. Obviously, they've influenced. I mean, I can't help it. Like, people have come in the chat before and they've gone, "Oh, you've got some Anthony Cumia mannerisms." I'm like, I can't fucking help it. I watched the guy for years. Whatever mannerisms there are, I came by him honestly. I can't help it.
No, I would. I would have answered that.
What?
All right.
I would have went, holy shit.
Holy shit. But someone typed in the chat about how Anthony's more successful than Opie is now.
Yeah.
And Opie was taken aback by that. He's like, "You think Anthony's more successful than I am now? Okay, dude, if you say so." Like you were just saying, like, he's the only one who doesn't know that he sucks.
Right.
He's the only one who doesn't know that he's a complete failure, that he's going on Facebook Live for 36 people after talking to millions of people on satellite radio for all those years.
Yeah.
And here Anthony has his own network. Say what you will about Compound, but it's got multiple shows on it. They do video broadcasts 5 days a week. It's a pretty professional, buttoned up thing that he's doing, and he's been successful at it for, I think, 8 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just insane that Opie is the only person who doesn't understand that he's not famous. It's not going well anymore.
But I think it's bullshit that people give you any kind of shit for doing a Jocktober thing. Like, "Oh, what do you think you are, Jocktober?" It's like, obviously nobody can ever do O&A's Jocktober. Like you said, look at the firepower they had in there. But a fucking good tribute band is still nice to listen to on a Saturday sometimes.
Well, I appreciate it. We definitely have taken that format and we're keeping it going. And in the world of podcasting, if Opie and Anthony had done this with podcasting, it would have blown up as well, because even funnier than morning radio. Like morning radio are all kind of the same show, the shows that Sam Roberts would pick out. They had the different quirks to them, but there was the Hole who was on the show, and there was the shitty production and the imaging and all the things that they would goof on. With podcasting, there's such a huge range of formats and genres that we can dive into. So,
the show is really good, man. You guys are doing a great job, and
thanks, buddy.
Also, like you cut yours up. Like we do ours live. So, and I've been this way, like, even when I was doing radio and stuff, I just, like, it's going, if I don't feel it's going well, and then I go into the chat and someone else points out the same thing I'm secretly thinking, I'm like, yep, this fucking sucks. This is terrible. This is not any good. So, I mean, I don't know what's worse, torturing yourself with it after you've recorded it or being live in the moment. I can see both of them being different kinds of shitty.
So I have two different chat windows that I'm looking at going through in real time as I'm recording the show. And I totally know what you mean, because as soon as I feel like, this isn't going as well as I wanted to, somebody reinforces that immediately. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Is there anything worse? Do you get this one? This is the one I get where I know it's not going well. The kind of the base of the neck and the back and the shoulders start to hunch up and tighten when you're listening to audio or breaking something down. And you just go, oh, fuck, I'm boring. Oh shit, this is bad. Oh, the shoulders are loosen your shoulders, asshole. That's definitely where I start to go, oh shit, this is going, I don't like this. And if I don't like it, I'm not sure it's going to be good.
And there are clips I put together, fast forwarded, 10 minutes of him just staring at the screen as his guest is just yapping away. It's like, this isn't a show, John. Have you ever watched a talk show before?
Oh my.
That's how this works. I mean, you tried to do it earlier today when you were telling your Opie story.
Yeah.
And I interrupted you. But that's just, that's not how this works. You got to let the other person talk too.
Oh, and the other thing is, while I was telling my Opie story, in the middle of it, I went, I'm taking way too fucking long to do. I'm getting mad at myself as I'm telling my Opie story. I've always said about broadcasting in general, I think I allow people to get away with anything as long as there's self-awareness. Like, as long as you know what you're doing. And the thing about John, or the thing about, I mean, you pick Opie, you pick anybody. it's not even what they're doing. And you mentioned it earlier, it's when you mention it to them and they take it like it's front page breaking news.
Opie and Anthony transitioned to that very well.
Yeah, they did.
They had because of Jim Norton specifically, they had the connections with all those New York comedians, and these guys would come in and just be able to riff and be hilarious. Now, by the way, that's also ruined so many podcasts who think they can do that shit and they can't.
Yes.
98% of podcasts that want to be like the old O&A format, like, oh, we'll just get funny guys in the room, we'll just riff. Like, no, doesn't work. It sucks.
I know. Do you like? I'm just like you. As soon as I hear that, I go, oh, so your show is dog shit. Like, I prep a show. I get like, I always say, I got to get like 6.5 hours of material so I can comfortably do a 4-hour show. And if I can do that, then I'm comfortable. I think, wasn't it Patrice O'Neill who said, you got to have your shit written down so that you can riff? Because if the riffing ain't working, at least you know you got this shit. But when I hear a bunch of guys say this, it's this phrase specifically. Yeah, we're just a bunch of friends getting together and bullshitting in our garage. I'm like, yeah, and I wouldn't listen to any of you bullshit in your garage in front of a large audience. Funny about Eric Zane, he was on Free Beer and Hot Wings, and that was the first show when we came to St. Cloud, Minnesota. They were syndicated there, and we had to take a job at the smallest rock station there was and do our talk show there. That was the first show that we leaped over in the ratings, and then that station pulled the plug on them. And then after Eric Zane left that show, he actually came on our show to talk about leaving. So yeah, it's funny that you bring Eric Zane up. That's kind of a weird crossover.
Good. You have a connection. Yeah. So Eric and I are friends now. And when we first started talking and he had just left the radio, not his decision, obviously,
right.
He was really looking to get back. He wanted to get back on the radio. And I told him, I go, what are you, crazy? This is where you want to be, podcasting. The radio, you're only going to have so many listeners. Even if you have huge ratings, you're going to talk to more people on a podcast when you're successful with it. And not only that, people listen to every minute of it.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about podcasting, because in the morning drive, you know how it is. You got to say something and then repeat it again in the next hour and then repeat it again the hour after that. And then the next day you go back and you rehash it for people who missed yesterday. It's like, it's a very repetitive, and it needs to be so that everyone's on the same page of what's going on and what you guys are all talking about and the bits you're doing. With podcasting, you just say it once.
Yep.
Everyone who's listening is listening. They're not. It's not like they slept in that day. It's not like they got to work and turned off the car.
Right.
Like their whole show is being listened to, and it's so much better. In my opinion, I wasn't on the radio, but
No, you're right. No, because I will tell you, I will attest to what Carl just said, and that is that now, luckily, we worked for a company that its management had no idea what the fuck was going on at their station. They didn't police anything, and it did end up biting us in the ass in the end because we did get a little cancellation there. But you're right. This over radio, 100%. People talk about, you got to do like partnerships and donations on streaming. Dude, if you've ever sat through a fucking 5-minute commercial break 3 times an hour, if you're lucky, this part, like it's the only negative part of the job, but it's way better than commercials. And Carl, radio is so dog shit right now. I mean, I made dog shit money doing my actual show. I had to sell my own advertising in order to make a decent living doing morning radio. Like I had to go out and put my sales hat on after the show and go and sell my own show. And it's not.
No,
it's
by the
not.
way, getting canceled from morning radio is the best thing that you could do. Honestly, if you were still working at morning radio, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Like,
no. I'm not even going to call it a downfall because I'm just grateful that people are seeing our stuff and the majority of them are liking it. It's always good when you find one who thinks you're the biggest piece of shit they've ever seen. But I
got a question for you, Aaron.
Fire away.
I'm kind of blown away by how much you broadcast. You do the morning show 5 days a week. You have an evening show, 4 days a week?
3 days a week, yeah.
3 days a week. And now you're doing these afternoon interview shows. Are you worried that you're maybe spreading yourself too thin? Have you thought about focusing more on just one show a day or something?
I'm exhausted on a regular basis.
Yeah. Why are you doing this to yourself?
I honestly do. This is going to be such a hokey answer. Since I was in, I think, middle school, I've just had broadcasting just in my blood. I've just loved doing it. I love the performance element of it. And as tired as I get, I just like creating shit. I just like doing a show. I like talking about like news shit. I like talking about different people. I like, just the shit we do on the show. I just love it so much. And now we've added a 1 hour, because we're getting up into the good amount of hundreds of members. So now I've started to do a 1 hour members only show on Sunday nights as well. They didn't know at the time, but we'd copywritten our show because they never bought it. So we copywrote the show. And we said, no, I can't do that because, first of all, radio pays so much dog shit. We were taking the Twitch money and basically supplementing our income. I said, I can't do that. That'd wreck me. So I'm going to take this online while I still can with my, the thousands of listeners we have in a small market. And I'm going to see if we can make a go of it. And I also made a promise to my co-hosts and my guys that we had. I'm going to keep you guys employed as long as I can. So if that means I got to crank out 8 shows a week and we got to, and also this audience like donates, they pay us to do the show. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to give you guys as much as I got until the fucking wheels fall off, because I think I think too many people do internet shows for donations and they take it for granted and they get mad at people when they don't. And to me, it's just like these people, when I made a serious jump off of radio and, with 3 kids and just no parachute, they picked us up. Sorry to get so gay, but they picked us up and they kept us going. And 2 years in, we're still doing it. So thank you very much, sir. Is there anything else you want to tell people before you run off here?
Well, Aaron, I know you only had me on because you wanted to get out in front of it because you didn't want us goofing on you.
Oh, of course.
So I think that was strategically a good move on your part. I think you made a wise decision today now that we're friends.
Look, first of all,
I know you're busy, but I would love to have you come on and co-host a show with me sometime.
That is the dream invite I've been waiting for. I would absolutely do that anytime. And not only did I do this to get ahead of being trashed on Who Are These Podcasts, I'm also not comfortable and still think that if I don't keep myself as sharp as I can, I still could find myself there.
Yes, so, that's very true.
In this game, there is no such thing as safety. So I will.
That's correct.